Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about, yet again, the storm system that is going to be occurring across the United States. This effects are pretty much already starting to get felt, and it will be through the next couple of days. There's actually two, to be honest with you, but I will be focusing on a more northern one, as that seems like a bigger concern. But I will definitely address some of the issues with the southern storm. If this video seems a bit repetitive from the last couple of videos I've made, that's okay. My goal on this channel is to raise awareness about weather events and save people, save them time, save them money, and possibly just save their lives if it really comes down to it. These storms are beyond dangerous, especially at this time of the year. You get a tornado, you get a strong wind event. It could really take a turn for the much worse if people aren't prepared. And weather should be very, Mother Nature is a force not to be reckoned with, and I say that every time, and I will say that for forever, because that won't change. So if you guys would like to subscribe to this channel, if you want alerts about the weather, if you want just alerts about the weather, like today's video about what's to come in the future, but also about maybe some more funner videos like the long range, my predictions, speculations about the winter, consider subscribing. If you are a returning fan and you already are subscribed, if you could like the video, that'd be amazing. So thank you so much for that. So let's take a look at this. This storm by itself won't really cause flooding. It's not, again, I keep saying this because it seems like some people are a bit confused by this. It's not a giant storm where the rain shield extends from Minnesota into Kansas, and it's a giant fall storm. Yeah, those I think are funner in my opinion. I like those more, but they're also less dangerous. That's just the thing, and that's why they're probably funner. So this storm is gonna be, it's a low pressure system. It definitely has the characteristics of one of those fall storms to a certain extent, but it's almost like if it concentrates its energy into a few bursts rather than over a large area, and that's what makes it very dangerous. So please don't underestimate this, as it's already occurring across parts of Montana. There's severe thunderstorm watches going up already. The Storm Prediction Center, you can see there's an enhanced risk. That's a pretty high risk. It's not a moderate or a high, but with a moderate or a high, that's just very bad news, and that's something that you should be very cautious with. Just because it's an enhanced doesn't mean you're not in danger across that area. Look, they already have I'm pretty sure that's a severe thunderstorm watch. It is. And let's look at the map. You can see that this is where areas are most dangerous today, across portions of Montana into North Dakota, and you can see the slights also there. The marginal you could see is still, if you live in a marginal area, still please be wary, because you still may get hail and wind. It doesn't mean that the severity of the storms is less. It means that the number of them is a little bit less. But if you get a severe thunderstorm across Wisconsin, say today, or in the marginal area, it could be equally as powerful as one in enhanced. It's just that there won't be as many. So yes, you'll be more unlucky if you get one, but you never know what happens. You may get hit by one, you may not. Better be safe than sorry. And across the south, with this storm system to the south, you can see it's just a thunderstorm chance, which is, thank goodness, at least better. At least, we have not two areas to focus on. We have mainly this area to focus on. And if you're wondering, say, for tomorrow, the threat moves on further to the north. So let's see if I could go back here. Let's look at Wednesday, the 7th, or the 8th, and you can see the severe weather threat shift into Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska. I wouldn't be surprised if they raise this to an enhanced level as well. As they update this throughout the night, and I wouldn't be surprised if they update us into an enhanced, as some of the signs that we're getting are pretty interesting. So again, if you're wondering, am I going to get affected, look at this map. If you live in the dark green or the yellow, you are especially in risk to be impacted. But just because you live outside that zone doesn't mean you're not in a risk. The chances are still there, especially with some of these thunderstorm complexes, which are likely to form. They could travel a long distance and be unpredictable. So let's look at the HRRR model, a high resolution model, and let's take a focus on it. So notice across the eastern United States today, just generally a good portion of the eastern United States, we see thunderstorms, and you can see the most cluster-like thunderstorms are to the south across Texas and into the Gulf Coast states. Though you can see Wisconsin, parts of southern Wisconsin, maybe into northwestern Illinois and eastern Iowa, also seeing a little bit of thunderstorms. Again, They're small. They look puny. If you get on one of those things, you will learn your lesson not to underestimate them. It's been so many times. I remember when I was younger, and I was looking at the map, and I was like, "Oh, it's just little showers. Nothing. It's insignificant, right?" Well, there once was a thunderstorm about. The map looked similar to this. It was several years back, and that thunderstorm that blew through was still one of the most powerful ones we've had, or at least I had in my house, in my area. So, just because you're not under the yellow or the red doesn't mean that you are not under risk for some severe weather. Notice that this kind of fades off, but look what happens here across areas in Montana. Please, if you are watching this video, please take note that this is something not to be joking around with. This could form into a very strong straight line wind event, very strong winds across North Dakota into southern Canada, into South Dakota, and you can see that it goes throughout most of the night. And we even see some thunderstorms across the front range of the Rockies, so also be aware about that. And you can see this thing pushes through across across northern U.S. and into southern Canada, while this low pressure sits up here. You can see it re-intensifies tomorrow. It doesn't really look to be awfully severe tomorrow across these locations. It seems as if tomorrow across, say northern Minnesota and central Minnesota, it'll be more of a rain event, a heavy rain event. But definitely, you can see those reds. There could still be some isolated tornadoes, say, and some large hail. You will see strong winds and lots of rain with this cluster, though. But it's not as vigorous as it is at the very beginning, right here when it's erupting. So that's phase one. You may think that's all over with this storm, and I'm making a big deal out of it. Oh, no. That's literally the only first phase. Notice we start getting an activity across the southeast again into Virginia, North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and it seems that it's going to stay east of, say, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Generally, these areas will stay dry, though a few thunderstorms isolated may be possible as well. And I know that you guys may not like when I say may be possible. Make up your mind. Is it or is it not? It's really tough. We try doing our best job here, but you can't really predict whether or not there's going to be a few flare-ups. It doesn't seem like it will be widespread, we could tell you that much, but it's impossible to predict where it will exactly happen, those few isolated cells. So notice that, again, the chance for thunderstorms across Illinois, Indiana is very isolated, but if they do occur, they could be powerful. Notice across the Northeast as well, they developed into some sort of a front across Vermont, New Hampshire, and into New York. Definitely stay aware of that. They may be powerful as well, but this is where things get nasty. So we start seeing another new complex of thunderstorms erupting. This will be affecting areas like Duluth and into northern Minnesota, the North the Woods as they call it. You could see these thunderstorms are bad, and the HRRR model tends to underplay some of the colors with the thunderstorms. Usually if it's a thunderstorm like this, it's big enough to cause flooding and wind and severe weather. And you can see the HRRR model, it doesn't look much on that HRRR model. These types with those dark red colors, that's something to be very, very concerned about. And definitely don't panic. That's not what I ever want to do. But to be safe than sorry. Take a caution and be alert. That's just literally the best way to do it. Be alert and listen to the National Weather Service for warnings, watches, and that's the best thing you could do. I think has been already 200 people that have been killed this year by lightning. So it's not a joke by any means. And notice that you may be wondering, you may be looking at it like, oh, 200 people, that's not allowed. There's 7 billion people in the world. Yeah, but if you look at that, that's just a flawed way to look at it. It's better to be safe than sorry. You may be one of those 200 people. You don't want to be. So look at parts of Nebraska. We see a thunderstorm complex. It goes on for quite a while, and you can see overnight they switch into more of these heavy efficient rainmakers, but you can see some severe weather still possible. And now we run out because this is how far the HRRR model goes. Let's look at the total accumulated precip quickly. You can see that southeast, right off the coast, quite a bit of rain. A few spots where it could be pretty nice doses of rain as well. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But notice where the thunderstorm complexes do occur, it's quite a bit of rain. This is 2 inches plus. Even in the blue, you can see the blue is half an inch to an inch and a quarter and 3/4. That's enough rain to cause flooding. Now, thankfully, it hasn't been overly wet across the United States, and it won't be. But where these storms do occur, it's going to be a bit wetter. So let's go now look at the high-resolution European model, as this takes us a bit further out into time. Unfortunately, it's not as accurate, but it still gives us a good idea of what's to come. So let's take a look at this and see. So today's Tuesday. You can see that, again, it was a pretty rainy day across the southeast. Though, again, it was more of a clouds and sun mix with a few rain showers. But notice that we see, again, that thing flare up. It's flaring up right now as we speak, and it will continue to flare up throughout the overnight. Lots of rain, lots of precip. Notice that the storm is still sprawling across Canada, so until that thing moves out, these little complexes, which you can see right here across the Minnesota and Nebraska area, in this case, will keep continuing. And this is what the HRRR model was showing you guys, and this is around the time frame where the HRRR model stopped. And you can see they evolve into some pretty nice storms. They could be some derecho-like systems where they could produce straight line winds. That is possibly equally, as if not more damaging than, a series of tornadoes. I got a comment the other day. It was asking me, what do you think is more damaging, a derecho or a single tornado? I think that's what he's implying. Derecho would beat that tornado any day. Derecho causes much damage. It has straight line winds. It has large hail. Flooding is also an issue, and it stretches for way longer, stretches for a much longer period of time, because that's a quality to be a derecho. It has to be a certain time limit, and also it's the length of a distance as the cover is also much larger than a tornado. So, I guess if a tornado is isolated over a certain area, yeah, the damage will be much worse. But overall speaking, the damage will be much worse from a derecho. I say this is an extreme example, but a bad derecho, if the environment's right, could cause up to $2 billion in damage easily. So, that's not to be reckoned with. Notice that if we move into Thursday and into Friday, the low pressure still across Canada. It's a bit weaker. It's moving into Quebec at this point. Notice that we still see those flare-ups. Missouri, Kansas, now a little bit further to the east. And again, this is something not to be reckoned with. These may be weaker, or they may be associated with a weaker storm, but it could be equally as strong as the ones further up to the north. And notice that it also combines kind of its energy with the system to the south. This seems more like a rainmaker, which is what we kind of want. We want just more rain rather than rain in terms of, right, we want just rain to come in a more milder manner than in such a vicious way, like with some of these thunderstorms could be possible. Notice after around probably Friday, this is now, you can see the dates up here. Friday's probably going to be the last day, or late Thursday into early Friday, last day of these prolonged storms across the Midwest, because that's when the storm finally moves off to the west, or to the east, sorry, and then we start seeing this storm across the northeast, which is tropically induced, but it's bringing quite a bit of precipitation into the northeast, and which could also have some severe weather. Notice we see a little weaker low pressure across the lower 48, then some thunderstorm complexes, North Dakota and Nebraska, but it's nothing compared really to what we could be seeing in the next few days. And then we start seeing another strong low pressure moving into Canada, and this one has been trending a bit further to the south the past couple of days, so we'll have to see what it does. You can see definitely still spawns a bit of thunderstorms, and kind of leads to a little bit more energy being spawned right there. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on this, keep a track for this. And in terms of temperatures, if you want a little brief rundown, it looks as if it'll be mainly warm for much of the United States. But if the big storm that I said was trending a little bit further to the south, that one could bring in actually quite a bit of chillier air into the United States. You could see this would be around this time frame. You can see just a little bit of that blue coloring. That's some below average temperatures. Not significantly below, but it will feel significantly below since we've been significantly above average. So that'll be a nice relief. And you can see they're also showing some nice indications here. We'll have to keep this all monitored in terms of temperatures. I could have made a weather video about the temperatures, but I feel as if, sorry, that was my chair squeaking, but I feel like what's going on right now is way more important, and it definitely should be more addressed. So again, enhanced risk. If you live across South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, stay safe, be prepared, because this is getting serious. And anywhere else across the United States, and especially eastern United States, stay alert, as these little guys can be equally as powerful. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.